Right, a little hors d'oeuvre before we go into the main course. Two great trainers here ahead of a massive fight on Saturday night. Live on DAZN, the WBC, WBA Ring Magazine World Super-Middleweight Championships. Here just behind us, two great trainers. We want to speak to the minds behind the fighters. Joseph, I'm going to start with you. Welcome, welcome. I'll start with you. We're going to go to the champion side first, Joe. Massive fight, massive opportunity. These are the nights that since Callum Smith won the WBSS, he's wanted for a long, long time. Strange circumstances for everyone, but he looks in tremendous shape and ready to take this opportunity.
Yeah, it's a fight Callum has always wanted since he became world champion in Jeddah. It's a huge opportunity. You just got to look at the silverware around us. Canelo, ring champion. Callum Smith, ring champion. I think there's only been 16 fights in the history that two ring fighters have fought each other, and Callum Smith becomes the third British fighter behind Ricky Hatton and Joe Kawasaki. So that tells you the magnitude of the event, the fight. It's the biggest fight of the year. You've got two athletes in the peak, Canelo age 30, Callum Smith age 30, and you can see the intensity of Eddy training with Canelo. That's a huge backhanded compliment. They know they're in a really tough fight and they need the best Canelo to show up to be the best Callum Smith, and that's what makes it going to make it a bigger challenge for us. I said before, people say about Callum Smith's performance with John Ryder, but when Callum Smith, when it comes to the big fights, he turns up. Unfortunately, Canelo always turns up, so I think it's about time Canelo has a bad night at the office.
I think that obviously you've been here before with Liam Smith, who put up a great performance against Canelo. You've seen him up close. You feel like you've got the game plan locked in with Callum and you know what it takes to beat the pound-for-pound #1. I'm guessing you see him as the pound-for-pound #1 as well.
Yeah, 100% Canelo's pound-for-pound #1. You've just got to look at his resume, the fighters he's fought, the challenges he's come, and like I say, he's a superstar of boxing. As far as the game plan, Liam Smith, Canelo, it was a totally different fight to what Callum Smith, Canelo was. There's things that we learned that week, being in the corner, being involved with Canelo fight week, but this isn't a normal Canelo fight week. There isn't the huge fans. There isn't the Mexican band playing music. It's weird for all of us, and most probably for Canelo as well. He's used to having a huge fanfare of supporters and 50, 60,000 in an arena. But
does that suit Callum? Is that good news for us?
Well, I don't know. I think the 12, 14,000 that'll be in there will make it sound like there's 60,000 in there. But for Callum Smith, it's very much like Jeddah. We went over there with a polite crowd there. There wasn't your raucous, vocal fans there where we usually get in the UK or in America. So it's, no, I think Callum's Callum, and the same with Canelo. I think they're both athletes, they're both professional, and they both know that when the bell rings, nothing matters. It's just them two in the ring, and I think that's the same for Callum.
I saw one of your comments, which was you feel that Callum Smith needs to win this fight by knockout. You know, you feel that obviously being over here, you know, in San Antonio, big support for Canelo Alvarez. Is that the game plan? You go into this fight trying to end the fight inside the distance?
I wouldn't say inside this. It was a thing of we've been over American before. We've obviously, like I say, Liam's fought Canelo, Callum Johnson's fought BTBF, Stephen Smith's fought Pedraza, and we know where back at home in the UK, the officials most probably help the fighters a little bit and protect them. Once that bell goes, it's a dog-eat-dog fight. You've seen Callum Johnson getting hit on the back of the head against BTBF. Pedraza's, Stephen Smith's performance against Pedraza not reflected on the scorecards. So for us, for me to sit at home and devise a game plan to win on points, you might as well take me off to the asylum. Now, that's not the case. We've got to go in there and be primed, loaded. And the same with Canelo. Canelo's an explosive puncher. From a standing position, he's power in both hands. And like you said, this fight can be ended by either or, but the game plan is to win every round, and then that if we've won it well enough, the judges are fair, they do the job. And whilst I'm here, I think this has got to be the beginning of a great rivalry that could end up being a trilogy in this type of between these two fighters.
Joe, we'll come back to you shortly. Eddy, welcome. I know that you're excited about this fight, excited by the challenge. One thing I found when we were discussing the fight, you and Canelo Alvarez, you love a challenge, you love to fight the best.
Eddy, buenas tardes, bienvenido. Primero, sé que está emocionado por el reto, el gran reto. Cuando tuvimos conversaciones, esa era su emoción más grande, este reto para Canelo. ¿Qué sientes sobre eso?
Sí, pues estamos muy emocionados, queremos nosotros seguir haciendo historia, querer enfrentar a los mejores boxeadores.
Yes, we're very excited. We want to continue making history. We want to continue fighting the best opponents.
Sin duda alguna, Callum es uno de los mejores 168 de libras, 68 libras, ha ganado pues varios campeonatos, es un peleador muy peligroso, con mucho talento, pero pues son las peleas que queremos y estamos realmente emocionados de estar aquí con toda esta gente, volver a reaparecer en el boxeo después de más de un año. Creo que es muy importante para el boxeo y más que nada que regrese el mejor boxeador del mundo.
And there's no doubt here that Callum Smith is the best at the 168 pounds, and we want to fight the best. We are ready to fight the best. We're very excited to be here, very excited to see everybody. It's been a year, and we're very excited to be back and show, that we're the best in the world.
Joe talked about the lack of the normality of a Canelo Alvarez fight week. Thousands of people, the grand entrance at MGM. We will have 12,000 there, not 80,000 or 70,000 at the weekend. That might be good news for Callum Smith. Are you ready and have you embraced this different kind of environment that we've received through the pandemic?
Yo hablo de la diferencia, mencionó como a diferencia de cuando son 80,000 personas, que está la banda, que está todo el mundo, que ahorita son menos, que son los 13,000, los 14,000 que se van a presentar, que están listos ustedes porque para Callum él siente que esto es bueno. ¿Cómo lo ven ustedes esto? ¿Cómo les cae esto a ustedes?
Pues realmente aquí va a haber 12,000 personas, pero van a parecer que hay 100,000 porque la verdad los mexicanos somos muy gritones. Todos van a estar abalanzados sobre Saúl. Al final de cuentas va a estar nada más Saúl arriba del cuadrilátero con Smith. La gente sí influye, claro que sí, para sentirte más arropado. Estamos acostumbrados a estar en Las Vegas, que haya más gente. En esta ocasión estamos más enfocados, estamos más tranquilos en nuestro campamento, aquí en el hotel, previo a la pelea. Y lo que sí les digo es que se van a escuchar como si fueran 100,000 ese día del sábado.
Yes, it's going to be a lot smaller, 12,000, 14,000. However, Mexicans were very loud. We're very enthusiastic. So we will sound as though there's 100,000 there. So yes, it's been very different. It's been calm. It's been quiet. We've been focused on it. We've been staying in our room, focused, concentrated. And, at the end of the day, it's going to be Canelo and Smith on the ring. However, Mexico will be supporting him, and the arena will sound as though there are 100,000 people cheering for him.
Joe mentioned that the aim is to win this fight inside the distance by knockout. Do you expect an explosive fight, and do you believe that your man can win this fight inside the distance as well, and is that the game plan?
Joe expresó que él siente que con la distancia va a poder lograr un knockout. ¿Ustedes piensan que con lo explosivo que es Saúl, que él va a poder lograr un knockout a pesar de la distancia que Callum está tratando, que le va a poner?
Pues va a ser una pelea explosiva. Los dos son dos boxeadores que suelen terminar sus peleas de manera explosiva. Vamos a ver quién logra conectar. Vamos a ver quién logra demostrar arriba en el ring quién es el mejor. Entonces va a ser una pelea, como dijo yo, va a ser una pelea explosiva y esperemos que le guste a toda la gente. Pero lo que sí estoy seguro es que vamos a salir con la mano en alto.
It will be an explosive fight. Both fighters are explosive. So we'll see who connects the best and, try to connect. And as Joe mentioned, they are both explosive. They like to end their fights with an explosion. And what I can say is that we will come off the ring, with our hands up high.
Finally, one question for both of you, Joe. People talk about this as an upset. One could be one of the greatest British victories of all time. Do you see it like that? Do you see yourself as the underdog going into this fight? It's strange, isn't it? The #1 fighter in the division, WBA champion, Ring Magazine champion, but obviously up against a pound-for-pound #1. This would be a huge moment for British boxing if Callum Smith could win this fight and become pound-for-pound #1 on Saturday night.
Yeah, definitely. I do feel it's, for the people that don't know boxing, it would be huge. But the people that do but know boxing, I can't understand why the odds are so wide. Canelo, at age 30, is now fighting someone his own age 30. And I think this is the first time in his career he's fought someone his own age. They've always been a bit older. Callum Smith is the world champion. We are expected to be the underdog. Canelo Alvarez is a superstar. He's the pound-for-pound #1. And he's not a bigger underdog as what people are making out. So it'll be huge, and it'll be a great success story for everyone back home in England and in Liverpool. Put a smile on everyone's face in the lockdown. But to us, close to Callum, we've always been confident that I've got the right kid here to do the job.
And finally, Eddie, as well, this is your life. You know, we know the saying, no boxing, no life. What does this represent for you, that Canelo Alvarez is a man who wants the biggest challenges? He's the one that wants to achieve greatness in the sport of boxing.
Y finalmente, Eddie, esta es su vida que es no life, no boxing. ¿Qué es con Canelo? ¿Qué es las metas? ¿Qué es lo que ven ustedes sucediendo en cuestión del boxeo?
Pues seguir avanzando, seguir creciendo. Creo que Saúl todavía tiene mucho que dar al boxeo, es joven todavía, está en la mejor etapa de su carrera. Lo más importante que es un deportista al 100%, es un deportista comprometido con su trabajo. Él tiene todavía mucho que dar al boxeo, estamos motivados como nunca hemos estado, más motivados, mejor dicho. Entonces vienen cosas muy grandes. El sábado vamos a dar otro paso adelante a lo que queremos seguir haciendo y pues más que nada seguir adelante.
Let's continue moving forward. Continue moving forward. Saul is still a young fighter, still a lot to do in boxing and bring to boxing. So, you know, he has a lot to give. We want to continue making history, and this Saturday is going to be huge. And mostly, it's continue moving forward. That's the most important thing for us.
Well, thank you, Eddy Reynoso, Joe Gallagher, two great trainers, the minds behind the men on Saturday night, ready to do battle. Back over to Michelle and Sergio.
Is it just me, or you could sort of sense the tension on the stage?